Well, happy Friday. Happy January 2nd. Happy 2026. Yes, all the good things. Good morning to you. How you doing this morning? How is 2026 treating you? I know we're only 2 days in, but hey, things can happen just like that and completely alter how someone's feeling. So, trying to inspire and uplift you this morning. I'm your host, Monica Adams. Welcome in to the Real Monica Adams Show. Thank you all for being a part of this. This is now into our third year. Super excited to have you alongside. And thank you to our wonderful friends for you watching, and then all of our incredible sponsors that are carrying over into 2026. So today's one of our Foodie Fridays, and I wanted to keep with the New Year's resolution theme. So here's what I love. We have an incredible recipe. I'll drop the recipe in for you, but there was a girl up where our studios are the other day, and when Jim and I were there, I was cooking, Jim was filming for me. She walked by and said, "Ooh," she actually stepped back and said, "Is that beef stew?" And I had the biggest smile on my face because it smells like it would still be beef stew, but it's a beef stew, but it is kinda like mom's beef stew. And why do we say that? Because you are replacing the beef with a vegan alternative. And why? Well, for some people, they want to try to go vegan or they want to eat healthier. They want to erase processed foods. That's my biggest thing. But a lot of people also want to try maybe not having so much animal protein all the time. So some people might just kind of dabble it with trying to think of going more vegan. Maybe they do half and half, or they just sprinkle it in a little bit. Otherwise, it could be that people go completely into it. I remember my sister-in-law deciding to go vegan for about 3 years. She said she loved it, and then she started to incorporate really healthy meats and chicken. It's no byproducts, no hormones and things like that. Very grass-fed, high grade, and I think that's, for me, that's my choice. That's the way I would go, is sometimes doing vegan, sometimes just making sure that it's a really high grade protein. So what about you? Tell me what your New Year's resolutions are. And 2 days in, have you stuck to them, right? So did you decide to exercise more? You've already gotten that done 2 days worth. Are you cleaning out the cabinets and the pantries and the refrigerator and you're sticking to your healthy goals? Are you wanting to be a kinder person? Are you opening up the Bible? Are you faith-based? Are you praying more? Are you meditating? Calming your mind, getting your finances in order, organizing. That's a big one as well. Let us know as we go through the show. So our Foodie Friday, again, kind of like mom's beef stew. So I'm going to cook it up in the Slyman Brothers kitchen for you. We also, of course, have news you can use, and we've got a lot for you today. So let's go ahead and get to it. Feel free to say good morning to your community, because again, this is your show. So what is it going to look like for us as we head into the weekend today here in St. Louis, Missouri? And again, if you're in another state, let us know where you're watching from. I love how far reaching we get. 37 right now, and then tonight 29, tomorrow 39 and partly sunny, Sunday 41, so warming up. But then look at next week, and again, we're into January, and we're talking 58 degrees and mostly sunny on Monday. Tuesday 60 degrees, we stay in that upper 50 realm. Wednesday 57, Thursday slight chance of rain coming into play, double nickels on Thursday 55, and then the following weekend 52, 48, and 43 for highs. No mention of that S word at all in the forecast. So I'm absolutely loving that. Are you liking this? Or now that you get into January, are you hoping for a change in the weather? Again, we talked about this a week or so ago. What month do you think is our worst here in the St. Louis, Missouri, Southern Illinois area? Mom always says it's February, and it's so far looking that way. Okay, we normally say that we don't like to give you negative news, but I do want us to be aware of what's going on. And this is one of the biggest stories that I'm seeing on every network. Unfortunately, as we start 2026, about 40 people have died, 115 injured in a fire at a Swiss Alps bar during a celebration on New Year's. Authorities did not say they have an exact count of those that have died. So unfortunately, we could see more. Most of the injured seriously after a fire ripped through the bar's New Year's celebration in a Swiss alpine resort less than 2 hours after midnight on Thursday. The Crans, Montana resort, best known as an international ski and golf venue, and overnight, its crowded Le Constellation bar morphed from a scene of revelry into the site of one of Switzerland's worst tragedies. This is heartbreaking. The country will hold 5 days of mourning 13 of the wounded, by the way, were Italian citizens. Another 6 Italians are unaccounted for. Italy's ambassador to Switzerland told the state-run RAI television station it was too early to determine the cause of the fire. Experts have not yet been able to go inside the wreckage. And, I saw that as a kickoff to 2026. And then I was looking here locally. So, in my TV days, we would have told you obviously about this story, but I also would have told you about some crashes that happen. In fact, my husband, obviously, and a lot of you know, is a lieutenant with the St. Louis County Police. And we woke up to one of his pages saying that Highway 70 was shut down due to a truck crash and there was salt all over the highway. And then I woke up this morning and saw someone killed on New Year's. I saw a couple of officers injured in an accident, a lot of different accidents, shootings, things like that. Those are all the things that we would have gone in depth into. Again, those things are out there. And I'm going to ask you as we go into 2026, when I do news you can use, do you want to hear about those things? I wouldn't think so, but I want this show to be for you and what you want. So I remove those things, but they're out there. And obviously, if you want to seek them more, you can go to one of the local or your national stations. Here's how new federal changes. And so again, as I said, this is more of a, how can this news serve you? It's going to be some new changes that start actually yesterday that could affect you. So listen up here. It is a new year, new changes that could affect your wallets and your purses. For some seniors, money could get a bit tighter. Social Security recipients getting a 2.8% cost of living increase. The earnings test, the wage cap, the maximum benefit also going up. But Medicare Part B premiums are rising by almost $18 a month. That is one of the largest increases, folks, in the program's history. So with inflation added, the net result could be in the red for some seniors. Meanwhile, millions of people with Affordable Care Act plans, they're facing much steeper costs. Pandemic era subsidies also gone as of yesterday. This is the first regular tax season with changes in effect from a bill that was signed back in July, and they include a higher standard deduction and higher state and local tax deductions, as well as new breaks for seniors, car loan interest, tips, overtime. A proclamation issued yesterday delays the tariff hikes on some furniture, kitchen cabinets, vanities that were set to begin on New Year's Day. Also, starting yesterday, the president's travel ban expands now to 39 countries. So again, that affects many of you. And for those of us, and I'm sure that this is going to be in other states as well, a lot of changes and a lot of challenges for our restaurant industry. In fact, many are saying that 2025 was one of their worst in business, and they're hoping for a positive 2026. Grace Chicken Plus Fish. Have any of you been there in Crestwood? If not, that's the whole key. Get there. Support these local restaurants. They served traditional black-eyed peas to diners yesterday, seeking good luck for the year ahead. But they commented after opening this second location, because their first one, a lot of you maybe have been to, hopefully, in the Grove, Grace Meat Plus 3. This is Grace Chicken Plus Fish. They opened that second location, and they said last year was one of the fastest years of their life. Stacked Bar added a location in the Central West End, said it was great to see some other restaurants and people walking around. Economic pressures being felt not only by the industry, but of course by customers. Another change, people drinking less. So alcohol sales are down, of course, but they're hoping to see, again, a surge in 2026. So as one year closes, it's about making the best of the next. And if you didn't hear my show last week, a lot of those restaurant owners are saying, can you come to the restaurant midweek? Not so much. I mean, obviously go on the weekend, but midweek's where they make some more of their money. And obviously, get a drink. If you're going to have a drink, maybe have a drink. Obviously, designate a driver. That helps with them as well. When you order to go, don't order from the third-party apps. They're the ones making the money. We need to give it to those small businesses. So call the restaurant directly, right? Tradition, old school. Call the restaurant directly. Let them get 100% of the profits. All those things will help them. Okay, I want you to hear this, a warning from a couple in Jefferson County of a possible fake utility worker that could be knocking on your door. Mark and Barb Greenwood said the man told them that he worked for Spire, had a work order to turn off their gas due to a problem with their account. They have been customers there for more than 30 years and say they pay their bills on time. So it became suspicious when the man did not look like a company employee. He did have a flannel shirt on and a lightweight sleeveless vest. Nothing, though, that indicated he worked for Spire. He just said he was with Spire and had a work order to turn off the gas, looking like this work order right here. After the man left, the woman called Spire and was told there was no work order for their address. So the couple is worrying the man had bad intentions. Spire confirmed that one of their employees was on the street where this couple lives a couple of hours earlier. That employee had brown hair, wore a Spire hoodie, drove a Spire labeled vehicle. So the Greenwood said the stranger was blonde, drove a dark colored car. The couple believes the incident may have been a ploy to see if anyone was home before attempting a burglary. We hear about these stories a lot, unfortunately, and immediately all of the companies will tell you, always make sure before you let anybody in your home or even on your property that you ask for proper identification and look for a marked vehicle. I know sometimes they may not be in that, but they should have some type of identification. I'm glad that they were home and that possible attempted burglary was thwarted, but pay attention to that. Again, some bad people out there. We're trying to erase a lot of that. Okay, new post office rule could affect the postmark dates for mail as well as taxes, ballots, things like that. So just a heads up for you, the U.S. Postal Service said it is not changing how or what it postmarks, but rather clarifying for the public what to expect in terms of when that postmark is applied. They will have limited pickups from some post offices, as well as mail traveling farther to reach regional distribution centers where the postmarks are done. That's all led to an increase in delays between when you mail something and when it gets postmarked. To make sure you get a postmark that reflects the day you mail something, you will have to go to the post office counter and ask for a manual postmark. I have a dear friend of mine that wrote me yesterday, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, Monica, I just got a notification that the check I was sending you for her sponsorship is not going to get to you till January 7th. And yeah, she sent that. I think she did it through Intuit or QuickBooks, but still, it was like a good week and a half delay. So for me, whenever I'm, a lot of us from a convenience standpoint, we like to do things online, bill pay online, et cetera. But just make sure that you always look at, let's say that something's due today, right? January 2nd. You don't want to be doing it on the 30th of January or the 31st or even the 29th, because a lot of times it's delaying. And then you get frustrated because you're having all these extra fees. And wait a minute, I delivered it, or I had it postmarked, 3-4 days before. I always look, and a lot of the banks are doing this now. I always look at the day that I'm putting it in, and then it'll show you the deliver by date. So keep an eye on that if you don't want to be met with obviously a ton of fees. Okay, this is kind of cool. St. Louis area workers are building new fighter jets for Israel. The Pentagon recently announced that Boeing workers right here in St. Louis will be building 25 new jets for the Israeli Air Force. The contract, worth nearly $8.6 billion, will supply about 24 F-15 1A planes. That deal also includes an option for the government to buy 25 more. And according to a news release, that work is expected to be completed by the end of 2025. And this is also some good news. Again, I like to be the bearer of good news. SSM Health and United Healthcare, do you have that? Well, they announced an update in their contract dispute. So they signed a letter of agreement earlier this month. Patients who used both SSM Health doctors and United Healthcare insurance would have had to find new doctors or pay higher out-of-network cost if an agreement wasn't reached before the new year. Well, hours before the deadline, SSM Health announced a letter of agreement has been signed, ensuring patients could continue to use your SSM Health doctors with United Healthcare insurance. So if you canceled or postponed your appointment, you should reschedule via MyChart or call your provider's office. The letter of agreement, this is a 3-day extension of the current contract, allowing the companies to continue working on a multi-year agreement. So good news for you. And hey, I'm right there with you. I understand. We had Blue Cross Blue Shield, Jim's company, or Jim's, the government police, they switched to, I think it is United. And so we got notifications from my primary, from my OBGYN, that we could no longer use them. You know how that feels, right? Oh, you got to be kidding me. I got to get a new doctor, who I absolutely love, by the way. Fortunately, shortly thereafter, we got a notification like a week after my OBGYN saying, okay, well, I can take that now. I'm hoping the same applies with our primary. So that means that everything would be back on track. Jim was making phone calls trying to get into a new primary. They said they couldn't see him for 3-4 months. Another one said not till 2027. So yeah, that's what you would be met with when you're sitting there thinking, I got to get into my primer. I need to get checked, right, for an annual checkup. And a lot of people were dealing with that. So let me know if you were involved in that. Again, we are doing news you can use, and we've got Foodie Friday coming up shortly. Let me get into some dog news for you. This is great news, and I love when I hear the community has really stepped up. Thousands of dollars raised to help a man who spent nearly everything taking in stray animals. So the Animal Rescue Corporation said last week nearly 40 dogs and 5 cats were rescued from a home in Missouri, taken to the organization's rescue center in Tennessee for medical care. In its announcement of the rescue, the group said that the man had been attempting to take care of the animals, but that the population kept growing, quickly leaving him overwhelmed. Well, according to an announcement, the group said the man was, after the rescue, a woman from Poplar Bluff, Missouri, actually started a GoFundMe for that man, identified as Ted. And Ted was living in an old, dilapidated camper, only accessible by a dirt road, without electricity, out without water, while walking daily to get water for himself and the animals. I mean, this guy was amazing. She befriended this man in hopes of helping both him and the animals that he cared for. And through that friendship, they discovered this man used to be a teacher at a university until health issues ended his teaching career. He reportedly just had a small dog that was fixed, but other animals eventually showed up at his home, and he just kept taking care of them, taking care. With the animals being rescued, Ted agreed to get help for himself and, of course, the animals. The funding efforts for Ted, by the way, I love this, $50,000 goal, and within a few days, they had already helped raise more than $40,000, and now I do believe they met that and probably have far exceeded that. So congratulations to the community for stepping up and really showing up, and for this man being a true angel for all of these animals. Okay, ready? This is for you to be interactive. So we talked about top baby names for all of those that just got the announcement that, hey, your child or your niece, your nephew, grandkid, whatever, is pregnant. And then you're thinking, oh, I wonder if they'll use one of these top names Monica talked about. Well, what do you think the most popular pet names are as we go into 2026? And in fact, the top name is not only the top dog name, it's also the top cat name. So if by chance you got a new dog for Christmas, a new kitten for Christmas, and maybe you're still thinking of a name as we're 2 days into the new year, and you're like, I don't know, I'm calling the dog dog and then calling dog and the cat cat. If you're looking for a name, I'm going to give you the rundown. So let me go into the comment section and say good morning to you and pause here before we get into entertainment and sports news. What do you think? What's the top? Don't Google it. What do you think the top pet name is as we go into 2026? All right, Christy, good morning and Happy New Year. Kathleen, good morning to you. Stephanie, good morning. Finishing up my home visit back to St. Louis on Tuesday. Sherry, look forward to always eating healthier. Sherry, you got to get back with me. Sherry won a Crunch Fitness annual membership. Actually, the last one we gave away for 2025. So Sherry, I'm hoping you can get with me. I need your email address. Stephanie, can't wait for the warmer weather. Too cold in Minnesota. Julie, good morning. Happy 2026. Rose, Happy New Year to you as well. Sean, good morning. A lot of older folks fall for these scams. And I know exactly. They're definitely they prey on them. Good morning, Julie Fabian, Linda Eckert. Good morning. Let's see. Happy New Year to you. Monica, made it to day 2 on keeping my New Year's resolution. Woohoo! What is it? That's what I want to know. What's your New Year's resolution? Bella and Luna, Christy says. Good morning, Karen. My new puppy is Hazel Lynn. Yep. Happy 2026. Palestine. Christy, my other girls are Audrey Ann and Bailey Jane. Terry, tried the Joy Bauer Mediterranean white bean salad with the lemon dressing. Yummy. I've always used black beans in salads, branching out in 2026. Okay, good morning to you, Joe. All right, what do you think? What is the top name, not just for dogs, but as I said, this top name I'm going to give you, you can use across the board for dogs and for cats alike. Top name, you ready? It is, in fact, Luna. Christy, you were correct. Luna, most popular name of 2025 going into 26 for both dogs and cats. So here you go, top 20 names. If you're thinking of one, or maybe you're going to get an animal now, a pet, as you go into 26. Luna's number 1. Daisy is number 2. Teddy, Charlie, Lucy, Bella, Milo, Cooper, Winnie, and Rosie. Those are the top 10. And then we go into the next 10. Coco, Penny, Winston, Willow, Oliver, Sadie, Poppy, Ruby, Lola, and Rocky. Top 20 names for you for dogs. And I don't want to leave out our cat friends. So our top 20 cat names. Luna, again, number one for both. Milo, Willow, Leo, Oliver, Loki, Moki, Nala, Pepper, and Charlie. Those are the top 10. And then Bella, Simba, Lucy, Lily, Daisy, Jasper, Poppy, Miso. Oh, that's cute. Is it Cleo? Hold on, let me put my glasses on. Yep, Cleo and Coco. There you go. If you're looking for names, as you are maybe thinking of getting a new pet and adding to your family, your furry friends, there's some top names. 3 of my friends named their pets Luna. My best friend Julie, they just got a dog last year, and I'm going to send this to her because I think she's at work this morning. I was like, hey, look, your dog is one of the top names, Luna. All right, how many of you love MTV? I'm going to tell you, I didn't realize it was even still around. Well, it's not anymore. Unfortunately, the channels went dark. The all music channels. MTV no longer on the air after 40 years. Those channels around the world, from the United Kingdom to Ireland, France, Australia, Brazil, all went dark yesterday. And in fact, it was so ironic. It ended just as it began. Do you remember what it began with? The Buggles. Video killed the radio star. That music video. That's how they ended it. MTV's main entertainment channel is still on the air in the United States. However, it recently canceled popular shows Catfish and Ridiculousness. I haven't watched MTV, and as I said, didn't even realize it was even still around. But can you name all those VJs that you see right there? Nina Blackwood, Mark Goodman up top, Alan Hunter, Martha Quinn, JJ Jackson. We had Alan Hunter on, what? Was it last year or two, probably a year and a half ago? I reached out to Martha Quinn, by the way, on Twitter or X, and I said, hey, I forgot you and I have been trying to do an interview together. So now that this has changed, let's do this. Look forward to that, by the way. I was scrolling on Instagram yesterday and came across this picture and thought, what the heck's wrong with Pink? Did you all see this? Pink ending 2025, and she was actually happy about that, saying, looking forward to going into 2026. She spent New Year's Eve in the hospital while her family was on a ski trip. Seriously, her family spent the holiday snowboarding. Pink donned that hospital gown and a bandage on her neck, posting a tribute to a year that she said, quote, ran the spectrum from absolutely devastating to mildly annoying, and revealed she had a major medical procedure, telling fans she was ending the year committed to fixing her body, not a fancy facelift, but getting 2 new shiny discs in her neck, a new scar, a new reminder, she said, that I appreciate this vessel that I have and use it for all it's worth. And then she went on to say, rock and roll is a contact sport. Have any of you been to a Pink concert? The woman is the most incredible entertainer, flipping around on those silks and on bungees and singing upside down. She really puts her body through a toll. And so obviously you can see that she needed to get some things taken care of. Okay. Jim went to bed after we had an incredible New Year's Day and loved having his cousins over. We had a wonderful time blending our families. I stayed up and watched up until the last maybe 8 minutes of the game, but evidently I should have stayed up until the final seconds of the game. I'm talking the last 6 seconds for Ole Miss to pull out a win and nailing that field goal. Did you all see this? The Ole Miss Rebels advancing to the college football playoff semifinals did not come easy. The Rebels had to overcome a 9-point halftime deficit, navigate plenty of back and forth calls, contend with the strong performance from Georgia's offense in the Sugar Bowl. Even after a game-winning field goal, Ole Miss faced added drama in those final seconds because just when the game seemed over, following a safety on the final kick, officials added time to the clock, giving Georgia one last possession after a somewhat lengthy delay. But again, Ole Miss held on for a 39-34 victory. Did any of you get a chance to see it? Did you do like a lot of the guys at our house yesterday? Watch bowl games all day? Yeah, it was the thing to do for a lot of people. But congrats to Ole Miss pulling that out. Okay, St. Louis Blues fans, it's the Vegas Golden Knights in town against the Blues. It's an afternoon game today, 2 p.m. The Canadiens taking on the Blues in town tomorrow, 3 p.m. And the Blues and the Blackhawks in Chicago next Wednesday. That is actually a later game. The face-off will be at 8:30. All right, and into our National Day of calendar. It's National Cream Puff Day, National Buffet Day, National Personal Trainer Awareness Day, and it is National Science fiction day. I was actually surprised by the top two. I was like, buffet day and cream puff day, when we're all trying to stick to our New Year's resolutions. That actually surprised me. Well, there you go. A lot of news you can use today, right? Getting you all up to date. Let's see. Linda, we have a Charlie and a Zelda, cat names. A Willow is my granddaughter, Julie says. I didn't realize it was still around either. MTV, yeah. Julie says MTV was so cool when I was a teenager. Rose, I thought of you when I saw that pink post, still trying to get her on your show. Yeah, Michelle's been trying for a long time. My husband is so excited. They are an Ole Miss family. Yeah, Jim really loved Ole Miss as well. All right, there you go. Anything else that you have seen and you want to drop in to say, oh, hey, Monica, this took place as well? Let me know that. Okay, we have a really fun show on tap for you today. So we're going to be cooking in the Slyman Brothers kitchen. It is kind of like maybe your mom or your grandma's beef stew. We're going to talk about that. Before we do so, I want to thank some of our incredible sponsors, including Spas and More. Did any of you get a hot tub for Christmas? Let me know. I'm hoping that you, when you're thinking of one, or maybe it's a sauna, or maybe it's a cold plunge that you're thinking of getting, that you think of our friends at Spas and More. Again, Sunset Hills is where they're located. Check them out on social media at Spas and More STL, or on their website, spasandmorestl.com. Again, but I'm holding out hope for this. I don't know about that raising roof. I don't know if I can afford the Covana, the raising roof, but that hot tub right there, it's calling my name, right? So 2026, I'm hoping will bring that. If not, for those of you thinking about a swim spa, or as I mentioned, if you're into the cold plunge, so they have it. It's called the Chili Goat. And then you get out of that and you go right into that sauna, which is the Sweaty Goat. So please support those that support us. Thank you so much. And we check in with Angie Hess on Wednesdays for our Wellness Wednesday. Just one of our many sponsors keeping this incredible show into its third year. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we have on tap for you a Foodie Friday, and we're keeping to your New Year's resolutions, okay? It is kind of like Mom's beef stew, and that's where we go next. Welcome to the mobile Monica version of the Real Monica Adams Show at my favorite restaurant. There's something about a coffee house that's just very warm and welcoming.
Gives you that sense of community.
What are you most proud of since you've opened it?
I cry easily. I'm thankful for everybody here.
You opened the door during the middle of the pandemic. You got the best Italian restaurant in the United States. Here in St. Louis, you put us on the map. Does it scare you? You go through fear?
It's terrifying.
So how do you get past the fear?
We find something to laugh about.
Happy New Year! Yes, it's officially our very first live show of 2026. On this Foodie Friday, we are in the Slyman Brothers kitchen as we go into year 2026. I just want to thank every sponsor that has carried over from 2025. And of course, Slyman Brothers. They joined us last year. We're well into 6 months of these incredible Foodie Friday shows. And I love one of our viewers last week said, I can't wait for Foodie Friday. And I don't know if it was the fact that she loves everyone we do, or if it's because I said we were going to do a healthy recipe. In fact, my husband picked this one. This is actually a go-to book for me. I have, anybody that's personal trained with me knows I love this. Look how well it's used. You can tell a cookbook that a woman or a man loves by the way it looks, right? All the pages are all wrinkled up. You know that you probably splashed things on it. This is called the Karma Chow, and it's Melissa Costello, who's been on the show before. She is incredible. She is the founder of karmachow.com, and she used to be, I don't know if she still does, but she used to be the chef, the personal chef for Tony Horton, you know, from the P90X fame, and now he's got all his own incredible wellness that he does. She's got recipe after recipe, and I will say this, he's going to give you a little thumbs up in front of the camera. My husband Jim is behind the camera today. Jim, you have had recipes from this book and have actually liked them, even though they were vegan, correct?
That's correct.
See? Yes. So sometimes we just have to not tell someone that it's vegan. So Jim picked this one. It's called Kinda Like Mom's Beefy Stew. Kinda like, because we're going to make a vegan version. Now, for some of you, maybe you've never heard of tempeh. It's T-E-M-P-E-H. In fact, I used to send my husband to the grocery store and say, can you pick that up? And he'd scratch his head like, where the heck do you even get it? Normally it's in the produce aisle, but for some, you might have it in one of the cases. I would tell you to ask, right? If you want to start incorporating more vegan into your lifestyle, it doesn't mean you have to go 100% vegan, but it is a good time for you to be thinking about giving the body a rest, a digestive rest from constantly having animal protein. Maybe you mix it up a little bit. So this is actually tempeh. It comes in a block, like an 8-ounce block, and then we cut it up into 1/4-inch cubes. So for this kind of like mom's beef stew, we're going to use some yams, we're going to use tempeh, we've got some brown rice, fire roasted tomatoes. Now you can get the whole tomatoes. We got the diced ones because this recipe says by the time you are going to be using it, you're actually cutting it up with a spoon anyway. So make it easier on yourself and get the diced one. You're going to use vegetable broth as opposed to beef stock or chicken stock or beef or chicken broth. We're using vegetable because again, we're keeping it vegan based. We've got some celery with the leaves on. We've got some diced red onions. Now parsnips, this was cute also. My husband and I said, we need parsnips when we were at the grocery store. And Jim, what did you say? What the heck is a parsnip? Pretty much it looks like a carrot. So you're going to use 3 medium parsnips. Just chop them up into cubes. You also are going to use some carrots. Again, get the long ones. I was going to get the baby carrots. I think they have a little sweeter taste to it, but we just got regular ones. And oh, my favorite, Jim, right? He knows I don't like peas. We were going to eliminate it from the recipe, but I'm like, nope, Melissa wants it in the recipe, so we'll use it. So 1.5 cups of peas, and then we also use a little oregano, some extra virgin olive oil, and this is the only thing we didn't, so some of you might be, that are true vegans, might be like, wait a minute, Worcestershire sauce. There is a vegan version of Worcestershire sauce, but to use the whole thing, Jim's just like, get the regular stuff. So this might be the one thing that kicks it out of 100% vegan. But why are we doing that? Because it's New Year's resolution time. So how many of you have made the resolution yesterday, kicking off 2026, to eat healthier, to move more? I gave you the top 7 New Year's resolutions. Number 1 was exercise more. And here's what I loved. If you didn't see that show, being happier and watching your mental health was number 2. That makes me so excited, and that goes right in line with the fact that we like to help you physically, mentally, spiritually. So happier people, right? Kinder people, that breeds more kindness. Also moving more, exercise, right? But as well, eating healthy, cleaning out the pantry of all the sugars and the processed food. It doesn't serve you well. So yeah, you might be walking around thinking, well, I look good on the outside, but if you unzipped yourself, and this is the thing that I like about, there's a book by Dr. Mehmet Oz and Dr. Michael Roizen called You, the Owner's Manual. Do you remember that? Oprah Winfrey made it really popular decades ago. Get it, open it up, and understand, unzip what's going on the inside, right? What are your organs and your arteries doing? So you might look great on the outside, but what's happening on the inside? We're trying to clean up your diet. We're trying to, a lot of people are doing dry January. What does that mean? That for the entire month of January, you don't drink, or people are more sober curious. So it's really getting the toxins out of the body. That's what we're all about. So as you're watching the Foodie Friday this morning, I would highly recommend that you take this show, share it with others, let them hear the importance of really upping the ante and hoping that 2026 is the year that you clean things up. Finances was also a big one, right? To spend less and to save more, and then travel more and get with family and friends and really keep to those resolutions, not just for 3-4 weeks, not just for 5 or 6 weeks, but continuing it all throughout the year. Let me tell you a little bit, by the way, about Simon Brothers. So we're going to use the induction stove. We got lucky. Y'all know I love my Monica Blue. This is a pot that we got when we got married. So this is 10 years ago. We got lucky that we actually are going to be able to use this. So if you've got stock pots or crock pots, cast iron, they actually do work on an induction stove. And I'm going to have Jim coming over here. Have you ever used the induction stove? This is the Gen Air, the Energy Star from Simon Brothers. I already put this on, so the pot is hot. The thing that a lot of people try to figure out is why isn't it coming on? It has to have induction ready pots and pans, or again, you got a good cast iron, those work as well. And then you put it on. If I take this off for a little bit, it'll start beeping at me, but you put it on, see? Once you put it back on, it's going to remember the temperature that I had it at and go right back to it. And if I want this, though, this is what people try to figure out induction stoves in the beginning. You have to push on the square that it's in. Obviously, you've got 4 parts here. It will recognize this, but it'll go away right away. And then if I start to use the slider, it goes into the fan. So if we want the fan higher, then see, you would think that it's for this, but it's not. You have to push on that, and that controls the temperature of whichever square you're using. If I want the fan then you just slide that up, makes the fan go up and down. So again, we've been talking about these really cool appliances. If you're thinking, like us, we need to make some changes in our own kitchen, think about induction. Again, just at least introduce yourself. Go over and see the team at Slyman Brothers. Ask them about induction, ask them about electric and gas, whether it's a new stovetop, or we've been talking about the incredible oven that we have here in the kitchen, the Gen Air oven. It's got a microwave, an oven, and a warming tray, all from Gen Air. Now, again, this is pretty top of the line. It's very fancy. All of this can be controlled either here, the lower oven, or I go into the microwave. Again, assisted cooking. So this is for the cook that says, I don't know what I'm doing. This thing really, except for putting the food into the oven, does almost everything for you. Defrosting, softening, popcorn, steaming and cooking, you name it. And then one of the things, Jim, we need this, don't we? We needed it on Christmas Eve. A warming tray. I highly recommend if you are redoing your kitchen or you're moving into a brand new house, you just want to start fresh, go see our friends, Slyman Brothers Appliances, multiple locations, and they built this kitchen for us right here. So we could be here for you doing our Foodie Friday. So kind of like Mom's Stew, right? The vegan base. That's what we're going to do today. So when we come back, we're going to start cooking on this Foodie Friday. We have some cool mobile monicas coming up, and one of them right here at Apricot Lane Boutique, which is right off the 40 and Winghaven exit. So I'd love to see you for this mobile monica. Come shop with us, 4 p.m. on February 10th. Now that we are in 2026, we're excited for some new mobile monicas. If you have not been here, again, we love to tell you to support those that support us and support small business. There's Monica right there, helping some customers, great clothes. We're talking wonderful jewelry, candles. In fact, she is now carrying the Be Kind Real Monica Adams team candles. And the ones that she has are the Embers at the Cottage. So I'd love for you to stop in and support them. We're also looking for maybe 1 or 2 more models that want to be a part of the Vault Makeover show. That is coming up in just 2 weeks. Super excited for this. If you've never been to the Vault, they're located at 2325 South Brentwood Boulevard in Brentwood. It's going to be a blast. You know, we've done these, 4 or 5 times already. The Vault Makeover show coming up on the 14th. So you have to be available to me at 8 o'clock in the morning for the big show. And you go in a few days before. They're going to pick a couple of outfits for you. I don't get a chance to see the outfits until the day of. So if you'd like to be a part of that, drop a comment in for me right now saying that you want to be a part of that show, or shoot me an email at info@therealmonicaadams.com. Welcome back, and once again, happy 2026. Drop some comments in. Let me know what you did on New Year's Eve and what are your resolutions, okay? If you didn't see that show a few days ago, I'd like to know what your resolutions are. Again, I hope that the top of the list is to be kinder, and maybe it's to find a passion that you used to do. Jim knows that before he and I dated, I used to love cooking. I need to slow my life down to get back to the kitchen because these Foodie Fridays bring me back to a passion, which is cooking. But I like the idea of getting together with couples and cooking. So we can do this together. Jim is filming for me, kind of like Mom's beef stew. Why is it called kind of like? Well, because we're not putting beef in, we're putting tempeh in. Again, we've got 2 8-ounce cubes that we cut up into 1/4-inch cubes, but we're gonna start it. I already have the induction stove ready to go. This is already hot. We're gonna do a couple of tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, and then we're gonna get our onions and our celery to a translucent aspect. Now, again, if you've never cooked, so I'll have Jim come on over here. Look at this already. If you've never cooked on an induction stove, look how fast that olive oil is already heated up. That's the thing that I do love about induction, is just how quick it can be. All right, we took 2 medium onions. See? Don't you love that sound, Jim? That means something good is happening in the kitchen, cooking things up. So we've got some red onions. And by the way, I did all the prep work beforehand. Otherwise, what would have happened, Jim? What would they have seen when I was cutting up the onions? Crying. My eyes were burning for sure. Okay, I'm going to take it down just a bit since it's already hot there for us. So this is going to become translucent, which on an induction stove is going to happen pretty fast. It smells good. So we're going to make this. And by the way, this particular recipe is going to serve about 8 people. So I'll drop in the notes for all of you that would like to try to make this. And again, a lot of people are trying to give a little break maybe for the month of January. Maybe they continue it into the coming months where maybe they try to go vegan for a while. And what I would like for you to do, if you are going to try this, I've done this with a lot of my clients. I'd like for you to tell me what your body tells you, right? So how does it feel? Do you feel like you have more energy when you release animal proteins? Maybe you're doing more vegan and you've decided to drink more water, which is a really good thing, right? Hydrating yourself more. If you do all those things at once, does your skin clear up? Does your hair look better? Your nails look better? You're a happier person? Then pick up on those things. The thing is, what I would tell a lot of people is not to just throw it all at once, because then you're trying to figure out what was it that actually did it. So maybe you start to eliminate alcohol, okay? You do that for a couple of weeks. Then you start eliminating some animal protein from, having it on a regular basis. And then you think, these things go hand in hand, right? These things together. All right, Jim, show them that. It's, I'd say, getting close. We just want to make it translucent. Again, we have a couple of tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, 2 cups of diced red onions, and a cup of chopped celery. Then we're going to add the tempeh. We're going to add in some oregano as well. The oregano, by the way, is just going to be a teaspoon of oregano. And then we'll add a little bit of the Worcestershire sauce. And we'll cook that for a few more minutes. The tempeh, by the way, will be infused with those flavors. So we're just trying to make this a little translucent. If you are just tuning in, thank you for the last almost 3 years. So coming up in March is when we kicked off the show, just organically at my house. And we just kept growing and growing. And I keep saying this from the bottom of my heart. I could not have done this without each and every one of you. And I love the fact that all these new segments have started because of your ideas. So, we did the motivation or medical Mondays. We have our wellness workout Wednesdays. We also have Wet Your Whistle Wednesday that we're continuing. Positive Talk Time, folks. A lot of you that missed the animals coming back in February. So we're excited to have Jessica Cook back from Yuppie Puppy Pet Spa. Fridays, we started our Foodie Friday. And sometimes we throw in a little fitness, which goes hand in hand, right? We want you working out, and then we want you to fuel yourself. So do you have an idea for a segment that you would like for us to bring into 2026? I will tell you this, and I'll ask Jim, since he's a man, what do you think about the idea of Testosterone Tuesday? Why? He's saying he's not sure. So the idea behind Testosterone Tuesday is just a fun, kitschy name, but it really has to do with the fact that we want men to take care of their health more. So it's all men health related. We're just giving you some testosterone. But it's also the fact that while we talk a lot about menopause Mondays, it is andropause. Have you ever heard of that, Jim? That's you guys. That means that your testosterone tanks, right? That your testosterone is lower, and you got to keep an eye on that. So you guys do have hormonal changes just like we do. Okay, so come on over here, show them. I think that's ready to go. You agree with me, my sous chef? That's translucent. Yes? That is translucent. Okay, so now we're going to add in our tempeh. All right, bring this over here. I've got my yams on there, otherwise I'd bring the entire cutting board over. But they're not ready yet. So tempeh, okay, for all of you that are just tuning in, I want to know, have you ever had tempeh before? So if it's the first time you ever try it, it takes on, kind of like when people are using tofu, or I always wonder if I'm saying the name right, seitan, I think it is. These are all vegan-based that become your protein. Now, for those that are going to ask, yes, there is soy, and so from an estrogen level, women do have to watch the amount of soy that they take in. So you want to do a good mixture. So if someone is truly vegan, they're going to be mixing, I'm going to take this down just a little bit, they're going to be mixing their protein sources with maybe beans, right? So that would be a good source of protein for you. If you are vegan, I would love for you to give other ideas. Okay, so we needed to put in the tempeh. We're going to do a teaspoon of oregano, and then we're going to give you the Worcestershire sauce. All right, so this is emulsifying. Oh, this is a half a teaspoon, by the way. That's why I'm doubling it, in case you're asking. Monica, you did that. Okay, and then we need a tablespoon of our Worcestershire sauce, which we mentioned earlier. I know any of you that tune in right now that are truly vegan, this one is the only thing that I didn't check. So this one may not be truly vegan, FYI. Okay, tempeh, oregano, Worcestershire sauce, we're going to cook for a few more minutes, and that'll become infused. Then we're going to add our yams, our carrots. Jim now knows what a parsnip is. Jim, what's your New Year's resolutions, by the way? Or do you even make those? Oh, Jim says he wants to be kinder and gentler. So, you know, we stress that all the time. It really does go a long way. For those that think, is it really going to change? Yes, one person can truly change the world. So bring more kindness into play. Okay, what do you think, Jim? Starting to smell good in here? Yes, so we're making, if you are just tuning in one more time, kind of like Mom's beef stew. So you are not going to have any beef in it. You obviously can alter this entire recipe and put your beef in instead of the tempeh if you want to make it like Mom's beef stew. Or if you have a really great recipe, by the way, I'd love to know those. I'm always telling people, if you have a recipe that you want us to make like your mama makes or your grandma, because that's where we usually get our inspiration from, right, is from the kitchens of the ladies that meant the most to our life. Go ahead and put the beef in, put your tomatoes in, put things that might not make it vegan. But we're just trying to say today on this official kickoff of 2026 that we're trying to get you to not have as much animal protein. Okay, so let's move on. We're going to add our yams. Woo! This is also going to be pretty if you want a lot of colors to your meals. The yams, the carrots, and the parsnips are all ready to go. And then I'm going to take this up a little bit, fold them in. And you know I picked the blue one on purpose, right? Yams, carrots, parsnips, and we're going to stir that up and cook that for just a few minutes, and we'll take a break. We'll come back. And then again, like I said, if you have any comments or questions, or is there something that you would like for us, I'm going to bring this up just a bit. Just to cook it a little faster. If there's something that you would like for us to cook on a future Foodie Friday, whether it's one of your homemade recipes or there's a chef or a restaurant owner, I will tell you throughout the month of January, I'm super excited. There are people I'm going to be meeting for the very first time that I just started talking to on Instagram. One of them is a food blogger. One of them used to cook at Le Cordon Bleu in Chicago. One of them is really well known in St. Louis for baking. So we're excited. So yes, I mean, if it's you, right, reach out to me and say, well, I think I'd like to be on a Foodie Friday. So my email is info@therealmonicaadams.com. Let's do it together. We'll come right here in this kitchen. We're located, by the way, in Fenton, Missouri. Slyman Brothers Kitchen inside of the incredible Adventure Unknown. We are kinda making Mom's beef stew, and we're going to continue cooking on this Foodie Friday when we return. Welcome back on this Foodie Friday. We are making, but it's kinda like Mom's beef stew. On this January 2nd, 2026, it's starting to smell really good here in the Slyman Brothers kitchen. So we've already put in our tempeh, we put in our yams, our carrots, our celery. We also have a little bit of extra virgin olive oil and our red onions. Now it's time for us to put the vegetable broth in. And again, we are not using chicken or beef broth. We are keeping this recipe vegan based. If you have never tried anything that is vegan, then I encourage you to try this recipe today. Again, just trying to keep the animal protein out. I'm not saying you have to go 100% vegan, but I'm saying that when you start to incorporate maybe even a quarter of the way into the way you eat or half of the way, you just try it. Just play around. Jim will agree with me, that sometimes you just need to do it, try it. Maybe don't tell your husbands that are like mine that are steak and potato guys. Just tell them, hey, try this, honey, it's good. Okay, we've got 2 cans of our diced tomatoes. You can get the whole tomatoes. These are fire roasted though. Okay, so you have a nice little smokiness to them. And then we're gonna put a bay leaf. And then we're gonna bring that to a boil. So we got our bay leaf and our brown rice. So you have 3/4 of a cup of brown rice. Again, this entire recipe I will put into the notes for you so that you'll have it and you can try to make this at home. All right, so it's that. We are eventually, after we have this to a boil for about 20 minutes, we are going to add in one of my all-time favorite vegetables, peas. So, Jim, what were you thinking? That you could replace the peas and use like maybe okra would be good? Yeah, I agree.
You enjoy it at least. I don't know if you
I will. I'm going to do it. So if you all know the story, when I was a little kid, I hated peas so much. My brothers and I would sit at the table. Mom says that I could not move away from the table until I ate my 10 peas. And literally, we would take a knife and I would count out 10 peas, put them to the side, and sit there. No matter what, I would make all the faces in the world. So do me a favor, in the comment section, tell me, what vegetable do you hate? And did you fall in love with it later as an adult? Because a lot of people are like, I get not liking it as a kid, but didn't you like it, when you got older? No, I still don't like peas. I think that
Brussels sprouts were always a winner for folks, for young kids.
yeah, Brussels sprouts, but then you get, but see, that's it, you grow into it, right? And I think it's the way they're made. I will say this.
Peas, Monica.
I've not grown into it. I think the thing I do like, sugar snap peas are okay for me. I just don't like, I think it's more so I don't like canned vegetables, right? So green beans, canned, okra, asparagus, peas. It's what we grew up with, right? I mean, obviously it's cheaper, and that's what mom and dad had to do to put food on the table. And I get it. We would count it out. And then the funny story is that when my mom would walk away, my brothers are like, right? Bad boys, brothers, bad older brothers telling me to take them and smash them under the table. That's what I used to do. Bad girl. Sorry, Mom. We're using frozen peas though. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna let this boil for about 20 minutes. And then our last part, like I said, my favorite, we are going to add the frozen peas, stir it to combine. It's going to be 1.5 cups of frozen peas. And then once it's all done, you let the peas cook just a little bit longer for about 5 minutes, and then it'll be time to taste. Are you excited to do so? I hope so. Jim and I are going to taste it together. So when we come back, it'll be the finished version. Time to taste on this Foodie Friday.
This lady got me in the best shape of my life. I literally didn't know that I could be in shape like that. But the amount that she pours into her clients, and especially whenever you get the one-on-one training, it's mind-blowing. I mean, it was really life-changing. I learned so much about proper form, about nutrition, about just being able to invest in myself. I hired Monica to be my personal trainer, which was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
When you want to feel good, you work out at Crunch. You don't go here, because here feels bad. But here we help you feel good, feel strong, feel rejuvenated.
Join Crunch Fitness today.
Welcome back as we wrap up this Foodie Friday. Thank you so much for tuning in, and do us a favor, share, like, follow, and let all of your viewers, your family, your friends, see this recipe. So if you're at the end of today's show, what we've been doing is cooking up from the Karma Chow Cookbook from Melissa Costello, the Karma Chow Ultimate Cookbook. I've had some really incredible recipes out of this, 125 plant-based vegan recipes. So again, giving this body a little break from animal proteins on this January 2nd. So if you're looking to make a little New Year's resolutions to clean things up a little bit, I'd say more so less processed food. I like the fact that you eat protein, but if you want to have less animal protein, what you use is a little tempeh. One more time, it is called Kinda Like Mom's Beef Stew. So we're going to take a look. Jim, by the way, thank you so much for being behind the camera today, playing the role of Zach. We let Zach have Christmas time and New Year's off. Doesn't it look good? So we are in the wrap up here. We've got some carrots, and we've got yams, we've got red onions, diced tomatoes, tempeh, of course, some brown rice is in there. We also have oregano, bay leaf, and a little extra virgin olive oil. So this has been simmering for about 20 minutes. Now, Jim knows I'm not a big fan of peas, so I am actually going to try this before I put the peas in, because the last part of the recipe is that you put 1.5 cups, they're all ready to go, of frozen peas. You turn it off and you let them cook for about 5 minutes. But don't you think that's a good idea, Jim? No peas for me. He thinks it's a good idea. So it smells really yummy. I'm just going to do a little taste test. And if you want, you can have it simmer for a little bit longer. We are going to have it like this. I will tell you. Well, actually, let's have Jim tell you. Does it smell good in the kitchen?
It does smell very good.
So again, kind of like Mom. So what you're seeing in the tempeh would be the beef stew. So It really does smell yummy. This is great for our cold days ahead as we are now officially into winter. So I'm going to get a little carrot, some tomatoes, a little tempeh, and then the broth, by the way, I didn't mention that, is vegetable broth. It's hot. Oh, good. Very good. I give it a thumbs up. I'm going to let Jim try some as well. For all of you, I'll put this recipe in the comment section look for that. So when you have it boil, by the way, you take it down, you put the top on it, and you simmer it for 20 minutes. So what we would do now is take it off and put these, for all of you that like peas, put these into it, and then 5 minutes, let them cook a little bit. It'll all be ready to go. This recipe, by the way, makes for about 8 different servings. All right. Thank you so much for being a part of our first 2026 Foodie Friday. Shoot me an email with recipe ideas, chefs, and restaurants that you would like for us to have on a future Foodie Friday. Coming up for you next week, Jenny Gabriel with JG Optimal Wellness for a little menopause talk. Tuesday, Sweat for Impact. It's a really cool organization that maybe your gym can get involved with. We're going to talk to Corey Lewis from Extra Mile Fitness. And then the man behind the camera, his cousin, Kim Pruitt, joins me on Wednesday. I know you're excited about this one, Jim, aren't you? She is 37 plus years in the education industry, and what she's doing in Birmingham, Alabama is something I think all of you in multiple cities and states should take a look at. A youth leadership program and a program called RISE, which is the philanthropic arm. She's going to tell us all about that on Wednesday. So some big shows ahead as we officially get into 2026. Thank you so much for being a part of yet another Foodie Friday. Welcome back. I just ran downstairs and told Jim what a great job he did behind the camera. Watch out, Zach. I was like, you might take Zach's job. The way he got into the pot and showed you all the wonderful cooking, you could hear it all. We did all that, by the way, and this is the beauty of cell phones. They shoot motion picture films on an iPhone. So that wasn't even the iPhone 17. That's the iPhone 14. That entire show was taped by my husband, Jim, and I hope you all love that. By the way, I just took a picture. So for those of you that were tuning in saying, what is the name of the cookbook again? Here it is. It's called the Karma Chow Ultimate Cookbook. Okay, there's Melissa Costello. You can look back in our library of shows on YouTube and you can find the show we did with Melissa. Wonderful chef. And again, she used to be the chef to Tony Horton. Incredible. So many amazing recipes that I've made. By the way, my chili recipe that I make is in here as well. My favorite vegan chili recipe. I've made a ton. You can see it, obviously, by the way this cookbook looks. So I just saw Linda say that she is going to the store, that she's got the majority of the ingredients for that. She's just going to pick up a little tempeh. Love it. No peas, please, Terry says. So Terry said maybe use spinach. Saw Linda said maybe use some kale. Love those ideas. I think maybe some asparagus would be good or some okra. It is fantastic. Christy said great job to Jim. Yes. So I am going to be posting that. I just took a picture of it. I will be posting it for you as soon as the show wraps up for all of you that want the recipe and you want to make it for yourself. Once you make it, taste it, let me know what you think. We're going to have it today, by the way. We're going to heat it up here in just a little bit. Okay, let's end with a little faith. And we are out of Christmas time. So Jesus calling on this January 2nd. So we're going to go back to the beginning of the book. How many of you have this, by the way? Or maybe you asked for it for Christmas. I love this one. Plain and simple. Relax in my healing presence. As you spend time with me, your thoughts tend to jump ahead to today's plans and problems. Focus, be in the moment, right? Bring your mind back to me for refreshment and renewal. Let the light of my presence soak into you as you focus your thoughts on me. Thus, I equip you to face whatever the day brings. This sacrifice of time pleases me and strengthens you. Do not skimp on our time together. Resist the clamor of tasks waiting to be done. You've chosen what's better, and it will not be taken away from you. If you want to read a little bit more onto that, and you're starting to open your Bibles, get deep into it, it's Psalm 89, verse 15, Psalm 105, verse 4, and parts taken from Luke 10, verses 39 through 42. All right, everyone, that's how we leave you on this Foodie Friday. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Again, great shows lined up for you. Next week, Jenny Gabriel will be a part of the show with JG Optimal Wellness, and we will be talking about postmenopause, the after party that no one prepared you for on our Menopause Monday. Tuesday, we are going to talk about Sweat for Impact with Corey Lewis and Extra Mile Fitness. Wednesday, again, Kim Pruitt. She joins me. That is our cousin from Birmingham, Alabama. You are going to love her. Trust me on this. You're going to love her. More importantly, anybody that's a teacher or in the education system, listen to what she started in Birmingham. And I'm hoping that you can take that model and incorporate it in classrooms all across the world. So we've got some really wonderful things on tap for you. And as I mentioned, another Foodie Friday. So much more to come this weekend. Take some time for family and friends and yourself. Self-care is so very important. Christy said, I love the devotional. Have a great day as well. The peas, spinach, or kale adds that pretty color, making it a colorful dish and appealing. You're going to love the colors. The parsnips, the yams, the tomatoes, the peas with the green. But again, yeah, kale, spinach. I love that idea. All right. Again, if you have any ideas for upcoming guests for us, just shoot me a message. I'll end there with you. And so that you know my email address, topics guest. You want to become a sponsor? You know of a sponsor. If you don't know, I reward you with $100 cold hard cash. If someone books as a Mobile Monica or a longtime sponsor with us as well, we're going to reward you. Thank you for spreading the word of the Real Monica Adams Show, because we couldn't do it without you. God bless you all. Thank you for your kindness. I throw it right back at you. Be kind.